Hey there, I'm going to talk about my top 5 crops that I'd recommend for your market garden or your small farm. And I'm just getting some stuff started out here for not only my normal crops, but also some seasonal crops. I'll get into all that today, but it's mid-August and it's still pretty toasty out here. I'm gonna go find some shade. All right, so I'm in the shade now and it's much better. Before we get into the specific crops, a couple disclaimers and things I wanna mention here. There is no formula for running a successful farm business or small-scale farming, market gardening, those kinds of things. But what I found over the last few years is what I'm going to share with you today, and you want to keep a couple things in mind. First of all, you want to grow crops that you can grow successfully and get a decent yield out of. And secondly, you want to grow crops that you can actually sell, because if you can't sell them, they're worth nothing. So if you'd have a profitable business, I think those are the things you need to keep in mind. To give you some context about what I'm doing, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is in Zone 7B. And I sell only to local restaurants. And I think a lot of what I'm going to share with you today is applicable if you're selling to restaurants, if you're going to a farmer's market, running a farm stand, direct sales, those kinds of things. If you're selling into a CSA model, it's a very different situation because you have to grow a larger variety of crops. So keep in mind what you're trying to grow is that it's sellable. And sometimes you have to grow like the boring crops. And they're boring because they're not those exciting heirloom obscure varieties that look really cool online or in catalogs or you really love eating. You want to make sure that you're growing things they can grow for a profit and that people are actually going to buy, and I think that's really important. I will leave all the links for related videos and everything else down below, so let's get into the first crop. Lettuce is the first crop I think any market gardener should learn how to grow and grow well. It is a crop that can yield a huge amount, can be very sellable, and you can fetch a decent price for it. A couple of reasons for that is that lettuce is a common vegetable. People really like eating lettuce. Pretty much every restaurant has a salad on their menu, and a lot of times locally they might not have an option for lettuce. And if they do, it might be hydroponic, which is pretty much a different product altogether. But the other thing is the freshness. When you harvest, wash, and pack and deliver right away, your lettuce is going to stay good for a lot longer than anything they can get off one of those national food trucks, and they notice significantly. The other thing is I deliver a product that's washed and ready to go, and so it saves them a lot of labor. So you might be able to charge a little bit more than those other guys, but you got to make sure it's profitable for you. And the big thing with lettuce is that you want to make sure you have an efficient wash station so that you can wash and pack really efficiently and not waste a lot of time, because there is a lot of processing time involved with that. You can do a cut wash lettuce like I do, like a spring mix, or you can also do head lettuce, but it really depends on what your customers want. So either way, you want to make sure you're growing what they want. In terms of styles of lettuce, there are so many different lettuces out there. This year I've been growing the foundation mix from Johnny's. I like it a lot. It makes a kind of a fancier mix that the restaurants really enjoy. It does really, really well in the shoulder seasons and over the winter time. It struggles a little bit in the heat. So if you're looking for a good heat mix, I grew Mir, Cherokee, and Magenta before, and that does really well. It's a very different lettuce, and so it may not be as sellable or may not be what they're looking for, but that's another great option for you out there. But lettuce is awesome, and I think you can do a really, really strong business growing lettuce. Carrots can be a very profitable crop in a market garden, and I think they often get overlooked because they're in the ground for a long time. People want a lot of quick turning crops, but carrots can be very profitable. They're very easy to sell, and usually the carrots that I bring out to people, they taste way better than anything they can buy on those national food trucks and stuff like that. So they're in high demand. I usually can't grow enough carrots. They also store really well. So if you want to plant out a bunch of beds, harvest them all out at once, and then store them, they work really well for that. I think they can be sold in different ways. If you're selling on a farm stand or a farmer's market, I think having the greens on is great presentation and people really enjoy that. It shows that they're very fresh. If you're going to be storing them for a while, you want to take the tops off. My chefs like to leave a little bit of green on top, and they don't like the carrots as large, so they can cook either the whole carrot or cut it in half and have a little bit of green on the top. It looks really nice on the dish. But overall, carrots are awesome. A lot of different varieties out there. We'll make a video about carrots eventually. Lately, I've been growing Mokum. They work really well, but there's a lot of other great varieties out there. As we're going through these crops, you really got to keep in mind what you can actually sell. And if you need help selling your produce, then I really recommend you check out today's sponsor, which is Local Line. I'm really excited to tell you about them. They are an online sales platform that help farmers sell their products to customers. And they've been in existence since 2015. There's over 8,000 farmers that they work with. and they have incredible tools. A lot of us need help with the selling and the digital side of it, and that's what they do. If you've never set up a storefront or an online store, that's what they help you with. They have great customer service, and they really focus on trying to get farms to be profitable. There is an endless list of things that they make available to you, from customer resource management, inventory control. You can set up inventory, separate pricing for different kinds of customers. They integrate with Square and Stripe and QuickBooks, and they'll even let you set up different delivery schedules, locations, pickup locations. There's a route management tool that helps you streamline your routes. Man, there is so much cool stuff in there, and one of the coolest things is that they have a set price per month. So it doesn't matter how much you sell. As you grow, it doesn't expand. And I really, really recommend you check them out. And I know a lot of people are a little bit nervous with setting up websites and stuff, and so that's what they do. They can host the online store for you on their website, or you can integrate it into your website. So as things are moving more digital, and especially when there's less stuff going on in person, I think this is a great option for you guys to check out. I will leave links down below for you guys to check out, and I really want to thank Local Line for sponsoring the channel and helping growers all over the place. Beets are a crop that I've really fallen in love with this year. They've been highly profitable and highly productive, and they're just super simple. One thing that I found to be really helpful with beets is I gave up on direct seeding. I just transplant them all, and I will make a video later about beets, but they've been extremely easy to grow in all different conditions, and the restaurants have been loving them. Again, it's one of those crops that I didn't really think would be that profitable, but it's been really great. When the greens are in good shape, right now they're a little rough in the summertime, but when they're in better shape in the shoulder seasons in the wintertime, I sell them with the greens on them. A lot of the chefs use them as braising greens or mixed in with a couple other greens to make a dish, and they can be super profitable, or I just twist off the tops and sell them out that way. They can also store for a little while, so a lot of great options with beets. Green onions or spring onions are an incredible crop. They are pretty much indestructible year-round, and they're also great for interplanting. You can kind of squeeze them in wherever you have space, and they're another great option to have on your farm stand or selling to chefs. And when you have fresh green onions, you guys know how aromatic and how flavorful they are. I've had really good luck with them in the past. This year I haven't been selling them, but I highly recommend you get that in your repertoire and have that as something else. You don't necessarily have to plant a whole bed at once, because often that's a lot of green onions. The variety that I liked in the past is Nabashan. There are a lot of out there, but that's what I've been using. Lastly, it's important to grow some seasonal crops. I think it's great because it gets you excited as a grower, and it also helps the chefs because they like using what's in season. It just tastes great, and it makes a lot of sense. So for me, I grow Italian sweet peppers in the summertime. It's a crop that I absolutely love because it's delicious, and it also does pretty well here. But other options like cucumbers or tomatoes or eggplants, things like that can be great in the summertime. And in the wintertime, I'm gonna be switching over to growing red Russian kale, another one of my favorites. Does really well in the cooler weather, and the chefs love it for braising greens and stuff like that. I haven't had as much luck with baby kale for the chefs because they don't want to pay the price that you need to get for that, because most of them are cooking with kale and not using it raw, because I'm also selling them salad mix. But overall, behind me here we have those 4 crops. We have the peppers, the beets, the carrots, and some freshly transplanted lettuce. So those are all the main crops that I recommend that you grow. So that about wraps it up, and I think those 5 crops are a great place if you're just getting started or you're looking to dial in your production. And I think some of the big takeaways here are that you want to choose crops that you are good at growing, that give you a good yield, that are actually sellable, and you can sell for a profit. And I really recommend that you start with a small number of crops and get really good at growing those. Work on your succession planting so you have consistent production for your customers, and make sure you're getting your yields up and your quality up, and you will have a successful farm business. I really want to thank Local Line again for sponsoring this channel, and if you're looking to grow your business, I highly recommend you check them out. Links down below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you found this helpful. Please hit subscribe if you aren't already, and we'll see you in the next one.